In this example, when the program is run, the main method is called. So the main method is executed, and line 14 we start string a string equals to David. So this is a string literal, so this will be done at compile time, and let's say this is stored at address 100. So David is stored here, and this is referenced by the variable name a string at address 100, points to address 100 in the memory. String b string is equals to David Bowie. This is again a string literal, will be computed at compile time. So let's say we have David Bowie. This is again referenced by the variable b string as address 101 in memory. Line 17. If hello equals hello, so is the content of these two strings same? Yes, it's same, right? So line 18 is, so this evaluates to true, and line 18 is printed. What does it print? It prints equal. It just prints this as it is. If David equals to a string at line 19, if David equals to a string, so David is a string literal which is stored at address 100, right? So this is stored at address 100 equals to a string. A string is also stored at the same address, right? So this evaluates to be true. So this evaluates to be true. So this line is printed then. All the things that I write with red color are basically the outputs, how it would be printed if we run the program. System out print line string length, a string dot length. So what is the length of a string? A string length is a string is David, so the length of this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is printed. System out print line 22. Char at 0. So what is the character in a string at index 0? So that's D, right? So D is printed. Line 24. System out print line a string dot index of mid. So in a string, what is the index where this string begins? Where this string can be found first. So it starts at V, right? So V is at index 2. So this D is 0, A is 1, and V is 2. So this returns 2. Because in David, width starts from index 2. Line 26. System out print line a string dot substring 23. This is again a substring function. So it is computed at runtime, and a string dot substring 23. So a string dot substring 23 starts at index 2 and ends at index 1. So a string starts at index 2, so that is V, ends at index 3. So V is printed. So this prints out V. Line 27. System out print line a string dot substring of a. First we evaluate the innermost string, so that is this a string dot index of a. What is index of a in a string? That's 1, right? A string dot index of I in a string, that is David, is at index 3. So we have to create a substring from a string, which is David, where the substring begins at index 1 and ends at index 3. So that includes AV. So this is the output, AV. So this is 1, 3. I'll just write it here so that you remember. Line 32. Line 32. A string dot concat Bowie dot length. So a string dot concat gives us a string is David. We concatenate it with Bowie. So space Bowie. And what is the length of this? This is 5, 6, and then 5 more, 11. So 11 is printed. This line prints 11. Line 34. String help equals to b string dot substring. Again dot substring, so it will be done at runtime. 0 starts at index 0 and ends at a string dot length. So a string dot length is 5. So substring 0 to 5, that is again David. So this prints out, this doesn't print out David. This evaluates to David, and that is assigned to help. So essentially, since we are using a dot substring, this will be computed at runtime, and let's say at runtime, this new string is created, David, and this string is referenced by the string variable help and is pointing at address 200. So system out print line. So this prints help. Help is what? what is stored at address 200, sorry, David. And then this is what is printed by line 35. Now at line 36, if David string literal equals to help is stored at address 200, right? So this points at address 200, and David string literal is pointing at address 100. So these are not the same addresses, right? So therefore line 37 is not executed. And line 38, if David is equals to a string, both are string literals and both point to address 100 in this heap memory. So therefore this line is executed, and this line 38 evaluates to true, and line 39 is printed then, B string. So this is the output.